Whew. All right. Here we go. It is a wonderful Sunday evening. For me at least. I don't know what it is for you, but for me it is a Sunday evening. I have a drink by my side because my favorite football team just won an important game. So I'm enjoying myself, having a bit of a drink. The oldest daughter is in bed. The youngest son is upstairs with a wonderful mom. So I set a little bit of time aside for myself to continue working on Bollo Bollo. I am in no way going to get this finished today, obviously. But what you're looking at is a rather large space that was reserved back in the day, back before I deleted it, was reserved for the Gemsbok, the ostrich, and the black wildebeest. It was a very simple habitat, all things considered. So reproducing it is not a matter of looking at details, but just looking at the general vibe and ideas behind it. And what were those ideas? Well, quite simply, just to reiterate, this is where the real meat of the sandwich is going to be. This is going to be a very elaborate design, which will take quite a bit of time recreating it. But this, on the other hand, was just a rather simplistic savanna plain. And whereas most of this savanna up until this point had been quite lush. Oh, I'm very quiet. Let's turn myself up. That is should be. I think I've probably improved it a little bit at this point. So I hope this is better. Yeah, I noticed I did another stream a while ago, and you didn't see it because it was late at night. It was very late at night. I was way too tired actually to be streaming. But also what happened was that the audio was terrible when I looked at it in hindsight. So that stream is hidden from you. You cannot see it. But we're back. Also, I was way too tired to be streaming at that point. I remember being rambling about a D&D session that I had just played, and I just stopped talking about it midway the story, and I never finished it. It's kind of good that no one was watching. Oh, you saw it. All right, you did? Okay, then you might remember how crazy I sounded in that stream. I was sort of keeping busy. I sometimes, some evenings, I stayed downstairs with the youngest kid, who is at this point 1 month old, so that my partner gets some sleep, and he stayed downstairs with me until 4 a.m., so I was kind of tired. Anyway, guys, yeah, as I was saying, quite a simplistic build here. The only real standout features here are just these two, rock features, sort of here and here-ish, and then just a whole bunch of buffalo grass, and the shelter here needs to be completed. I think I'm gonna do that last because it's kind of boring. And you can see the foliage up until this point has been fairly lush, maybe even a bit too lush for a savanna, but this is going to be more of a desert vibe, as if you look up the natural habitat of these gemsbok and ostriches, it's kind of barren, right? And that's what we're going to reproduce. So let's just get the ball rolling. The very beginning of this build was based on a blueprint, which I should have prepared beforehand to look up what it was. I think it was this, something called Cliff. There it is. Temple Cliff piece by, I believe, Nicholas Lionrider. You know, it's nothing crazy. It's just these temple pieces made to look like a cliff. And then I changed the color of them. So let's just grab this. Do I have the right color saved, I wonder? I might need to just sort of... Why not that? That looks fine. So again, I'm not going to be completely copying what I did last time here. This is not a complicated habitat at all to rebuild. It's just a big one. So the original thing took me, you know, maybe 2 hours to build, and that's not a lot, you know. But was pretty much something like this. I wonder if that is too tall. It isn't really. And then we surrounded that with these savanna rocks to sort of finish off the look there. It really doesn't matter which ones. Just have some random rotation going on. This rock feature is a very lame and weak recreation of a build that in the original video on this, which is still on, and if you really want to be a hardcore Yelbu fan, you can go watch the video where I built this originally. And I do remember referring you to a YouTuber called Zoologo Experto, who makes this amazing rock feature in one of his habitats, and I believe I linked it in the original video. So this is kind of a lame recreation of what that looked like. So let us simply start building these like arms around it. This is kind of the biggest time sink in the habitat. Anyway, guys, how has your weekend been? Honestly, personally, I've had a pretty nice weekend. Although immediately after saying that, I struggled to remember what I did yesterday. We did a family gathering, ate some pizza at my parents-in-law. Today, my daughter, who is 2.5 years old, we every Saturday at noon, I take her to go footballing. There's sort of a very low-stakes football club for toddlers here where I live, and she's the only girl there. And additionally, she's also the youngest there. So it's really low stakes. There's no expectations placed on them. We just do some physical exercise, some running, some throwing. And the first 2 times we went, she really had a lot of fun. Today she was, the complexity of the exercises sort of got to her, and she wasn't really getting what she had to do, which is, it is no problem at all. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's high-fiving. But then I took her to have dinner pretty much, sort of as a treat. We went to the local zoo here, which is just 20 minutes away from where I live, a 20-minute bike ride. So obviously I've been there a lot in my time. Alright, another Prehistoric Kingdom video. I look forward to it. It is a game that I truly, absolutely should be playing. I have it in my library. I had it installed for a while, and it is no fault of the game that I'm not playing it. But I just keep thinking like I only have space in my head for one complicated building game, which Plant Zoo is to me these days. It's not a simulation game. It's a building game. And I seem to recall that I did not like the traversable terrain for what I built here, because the animals are smaller than you think and they don't like any of this. So I'm already going to sink these a bit deeper, which might be a bit of a waste. And we're going to grab another sort of 4 rock set to finish the look here. Luckily, I have just the thing. I don't think the color is quite right, but I believe in this habitat we were using this sort of collection of 4 rocks. There we go. The color is a bit off here, so let's just change that color before we do anything else with it. We should have the previous color here. Is that the one we just used? It is the same color. I don't know why my brain sort of had a meltdown there. Sure, and then we'll just continue spamming, I guess. That is the true secret to any Planet Zoo habitat build in any case. It's just spamming. It is just the satisfactory nature of adding texture to a blank canvas. I think this is, if a doctor ever asks me, why do you think you're on the spectrum? I'm going to refer them to my Planet Zoo playing days. Oh, your new video is coming out in June. That's fair. I have a running series of the Inzoi Life Simulator, which I post once a month at this tempo, so I hear you on This is going to look much better, guys, when I eventually add the plants around it, right? Now it's just going to be sort of like an octopus, but with all of the plants around it, it's going to look pretty great, actually, in my humble opinion. Whew, I'm not used to drinking anymore. I had a bit of a celebratory drink, and I think I went too fast. I'm getting a bit hot, and it's not just my computer struggling to run this zoo, it's also me drinking too fast. Life past 35, guys. You know, I don't think any one of you can relate maybe, but you feel it when you're not asleep at like 12. You feel it. You know, regardless, I still don't usually sleep at 12. I'm a bit of a night owl for sure. 2 Planet Zoo videos and then 1 Prehistoric Kingdom. Every 2 weeks I post a video. Yeah, 3 videos finished and in the queue. That is awesome. I cannot relate. I just look at my YouTube studio and I think, oh crap, I haven't made a video yet. And then I quickly check like the archives, like what can I do? What can I do? There's not a lot of planning. I will admit a lot of the reason why I scheduled this stream is because I hadn't done a video in a week, and I thought, oh no, I need my loyal followers need some content. They've been tossing and turning in their beds at night, wondering, when will Yelbu return? Well, here I am. Mindlessly spamming 4 rocks. In other news, my music channel, which is tiny and which I kind of, you know, for reasons I will explain, hope that it remains tiny, had its biggest video ever. So that's good, but it's a tiny channel. I don't promote it too often because it is just me experimenting with AI generated music, and even I don't really. I have a complicated relationship with AI music. I like my own music because it's lyrics I wrote with a very deliberate goal in mind, and I don't like anyone else's AI music. I think it sounds terrible, I think the lyrics are terrible, so I just like my stuff. But I'm at 40 subs there, and I had a huge for that channel video. Elephant Puppet, my favorite build, do you mean in this zoo or in general? Because in this zoo I might have an answer ready, but in general I'll have to think about it. I think as a basis, this is the basis, right? Obviously, much more is going to happen, but I'm going to grab this little octopus without the track. Wait, didn't I just group this? I thought I just grouped this. There we go. Okay, there we go. And now our octopus is going to take a little trip. And let me just off-screen double check in the footage that I had of the original build, where I sort of put the second rock. Okay, I see. In the original build, I put it here-ish. Yeah, and then I do remember that I had to sort of change its orientation a little bit. Doesn't quite check out. Maybe a bit bigger. I'll need to do some terrain work around this. That is pretty much where I had put it. So that's just the bare bones effect. You will be on the Jeep, you will going around here, and you see this, and then you move here. Yeah, and there's not a lot going on again. In general, my favorite build in general. That is quite a question. I will say, when it comes to my favorite creators that you can find on YouTube, one of my biggest inspirations always has been Caesar Creates. I think he has absolutely nailed the, how would I put it, the look of a realistic habitat. He just makes dirt and the color brown look so colorful and so vibrant, and just like anything that he makes, but generally his big cat habitats are absolutely fantastic, but also his hoofstock habitats. I remember, I think if I had to direct you to my favorite Caesar Creates zoo, it's going to be his, I think it's called the Desert Adventure, and the stuff in there, pretty much the reason why I started building this zoo, because I really liked it. So I'm just gonna keep my answer that at this point, and say that Caesar Creates builds to me are very inspirational. If something else comes to mind, I will let you know. Okay, we're gonna raise the terrain around here just a tad to sort of make these rocks look a bit more part of the terrain. If you're asking about, well, actually, I'm not going to do self-promo in the sense that I did record a tour of this, but I did record a tour of a creation in Planet Zoo that stunned me beyond words, and that is actually my latest Planet Zoo video. It's a South American jungle adventure called The Lost City of Calakmul, and what that guy did with just creating a South American jungle and putting temples in it is ridiculous. And he spent, in his own words, 1,500 hours on it. Just to put that into perspective, I've played this game for, I believe, 1,200 hours across all zoos I've ever done since the year 2021. He spent all of that time and 300 hours more on that one place, and it isn't even that big, but it is ridiculous. And I think that is the best creation I've seen in Planet Zoo. Not necessarily the best zoo, but the best creation. Alright, I think, guys, look away, divert your eyes if you're in any way into building beautiful backstage shelters, because the name of the game in Bollo Bollo is we don't do that here. Bollo Bollo does not have shelters. Just to maintain my sanity and the piece count, the shelters are pretty much a non-factor here in Bollo Bollo. It's just boxes. No interior design at all. I do wonder, where shall I put the entrance to the... Because if you're on the Jeep here, you will be looking to your left and you see that. Maybe I need to be hiding that as well with something, because it's a bit ugly. But if you're here, you're not really looking at that entrance. But where do we put it? I think kind of here would make the most sense, because the time you see it, yeah, I'm gonna put it here. This is where we're gonna have it. And let's just, again, look away. This is not advanced Planet Zoo building. This is basically me trying to keep the frames per second of my zoo manageable. There's no interiors in this zoo. And also the mountain that I'm sort of going to be building around it is very much a work in progress. I'm not trying to make it look decent. It just needs to... You have to wonder though why, you know, since I'm playing in sandbox mode, why I still bother to... The thing is, I play in sandbox mode, but most of the the settings are still on, so animals still need food and drink and shelter and everything. So I just disabled, you know, some of the aspects of the game that I feel like I've played around with enough, and that I don't really enjoy anymore. Conservation credits most of all, and just the cache and some of the water maintenance, but most everything else that exists in the game is still active in sandbox mode. Not at the moment. What you're looking at the moment is a zoo where I deleted almost every animal except for this habitat, and that's it. And then I seem to recall that I put like an arch here, but I'm going to change it up and put it here so that the entrance is a bit hidden, and then well, we're gonna have to remove those rocks from the equation, excuse me, and just remove these dust effects. They're cute, but we don't need them right now. Alright. Alright, that's that covered. Hello, Sparrow. How are you? Good to see you. It's a Sunday evening for me. I don't know what it is for you. It's probably a Sunday. I'm gonna guess that it's 5 p.m. for you. That's just a guess, but feels like it's a kind of Sunday evening for you as well. We're just doing some rebuilding on this very basic habitat that doesn't really require a lot of thinking, but just a lot of resources. I'm gonna look at the reference material for a little bit. You can't see it because I'm not that good of a streamer that I know how to share different screens. But yes, I remember what I did. Terrain painting is next. We're gonna start by painting everything green. At least that's how I do it. We paint everything green first, and then we're gonna be painting dirt where it feels appropriate. That's just the way I operate. Probably some other people paint grass first and then I mean paint dirt first is obviously what I mean. 3 p.m. All right. 3 p.m. and it is 11 p.m. It is 11 p.m. for us Europeans. I remember as a youngster learning about time zones and just in general being freaked out that how it could be possible that it wasn't the same time for people in another place. And interestingly, if you don't know that about me, I am a teacher. I teach usually Dutch and English. But at one time, I sort of substituted for another teacher, and the course was, how would I put it? These are students that are learning to have a profession, like after school. So not going to study higher education, but straight up finish and go work somewhere. And they're studying to be hairdressers, in fact. And I had to teach them like the very basics of science and geography for a few weeks. And they very earnestly asked me just the difference between left and right and east and west, and like just in general questions about, how the rotation of the world worked, and how, what the deal was with the sun and the seasons and everything. And they were these are like 14-year-old kids who, they're not much is asked of them in that regard. The things they have to know and be able to do. But they asked it in such an earnest way that I really set a lot of time apart in that lesson, just explaining, very, very enthusiastically by jumping around in the room and demonstrating it, how seasons work. Because it's kind of wild if you don't know it, and you need to have it explained to you the way that it's just simply the way that the Earth is rotated and everything. And they were just like, I never knew that, sir. You're the first teacher to ever explain that to me. Those are nice moments as a teacher when students just earnestly pay you a compliment and say, thanks, sir. I really learned something today. Those are moments I cherish for sure. All right, so from their shelter, they would probably go over here. They would probably avoid these two sort of bumps. I'm just making that up, right? And I think, let's just say that they also would hang around here. And everything else, we're gonna just a little bit with intensity way down low, be adding some dirt to these grasses to sort of blend it a little bit, make it a bit more natural. I don't always do that, but because a lot of this is going to be hidden anyway under entire heaps of buffalo grass. But it's the thought that counts, right? You do it for you. Yes, that is why teaching is amazing. It is a profession. I'm aware that, from what I know in North America, it isn't always the easiest job for sure. At least that's the stories that I hear. I don't know how true that is. And it's the same in Belgium. I think in Belgium, the real challenge in Belgium is just the way that the system works here. Is it takes a lot of time for you to be certain of your job. That is the Belgian way. In Belgium, to really be sure that you will be teaching at that school in the future, it's like you have to jump through a whole lot of hoops and a whole lot of conditions have to be met. So the uncertainty of young teachers in the profession is not high. And a lot of people leave the profession not because they don't like it, because, wanting to be a teacher is a calling, but they leave because it's just not a certain job. I went to ask for a bank loan to buy my house, and it was summer, so I was between jobs at the point. I was being a substitute teacher, and I was between jobs, and all these banks wouldn't give me a bank loan because they said, hey, you're unemployed. Because I couldn't, of course, at the time say that I had a profession. And then one bank guy, I'll never forget him, he said, obviously you're going to work after summer. So he gave us the bank loan and we bought the house. But yeah, great profession. I've had amazing, amazing memories. Also some very challenging memories in my time. Definitely some weeks and months that I considered quitting altogether. But then those good moments stick with you forever, for sure. I have so many amazing stories to tell you. Anyway, I've sort of been yapping and not focusing on what I'm doing. I feel like something is lacking. In the original build, I didn't really add a lot of features to this. If I look back at it, just 2 trees is what I'm counting, a few bushes, and those 2 rock features. It's kind of boring now that I look at it. Kind of boring. One thing that I will need to add right away, though, is the water feature, which I had forgotten about, which was just a very simple pool around here, which we'll be building right now. Nothing crazy. Just what does this look like? Obstructed, valid. That's too big. That's too big for my liking. I'm too tired for this, to be honest. Why is this obstructed? It should be fine. What is it? Oh, okay, there we go. I see it. This needs to be raised just a little bit. That's fine. Looks a bit unnatural, but not every enclosure has to be amazing. Lots of enclosures are in between the star habitats. Yeah, that's fair. Again, I keep coming back to this, but this safari really builds to the climax, and the climax is, you know, this sort of supports the climax, but the climax is this huge gap in my heart and in my zoo. So this habitat is just big, barren, and large, so that you have a whole lot of time to look at it. But you know, something like this is more of a star habitat to me, but this is simple. So just adding some terrain paint around the water feature as well. Can you guys even hear the music? I'm not sure if you can actually hear it. It's turned way down low because I'm mortally afraid to get my audio mixed wrong. Anyway, what am I doing next? I guess I can already plant the trees. Obviously, this one needs to go in here, and I remember putting it here-ish. I think we'll have it sort of lean away from the rock. Make sure that around the trunk there's a bit of more. I don't know why I do this, but around every trunk in every zoo I build, I need to add faux rocks or just rocks in general. It just looks better this way. And I think there's a second tree right over here, and I might be just taking one of these. Might be wanting to do something different and put it somewhere like here-ish. This is the riveting Planet Zoo gameplay you're all waiting for, right? Just choosing where to place a tree. And I think as far as trees goes, those were the only 2 trees in the entire habitat. It's true, that's all there was in here. And I think I'm going to stick quite close to what I did in the original build. You know, if you go check out the video, you'll see that's what I did. Yeah, there's really no point to delay. Let's grab ourselves Wow, I am slurring my speech. Some buffalo grass. Should I be using this color? How does this feel? or this one? I feel like this one still fits better, even though I have green grass under it. All right, let's just, wherever we see grass, we plant buffalo grass. All right, I forgot a important move. We group this, of course, so we can sink them down. So this is the riveting part of any build of a modern Planet Zoo person. Buffalo grass. Even though your computer is making more sound than a nuclear reactor that's melting down, there's really no incentive to add fewer pieces of buffalo grass. So yeah, there's not much to say about what I'm doing. But anyway, yeah. I'm just thinking back of some awesome teacher memories. I think the first half of my career, really, I spent being a substitute teacher, like replacing people who had like long-term illnesses or pregnancies or like hip replacements. And in the beginning, I really saw the romance of doing that, right? I in the sense that I sort of got to be the hero helping out a school that was lacking a teacher. And students always sort of seem to appreciate, like, oh, you're the replacement, you're the guy who's going to be teaching us this and that. And I really enjoyed that. I met awesome students there. I remember in like the second or third teaching job I ever had, I spent like maybe 4 months there. And in my last lesson, they had arranged a gift for me and like a goodbye party. And one guy, I'll never forget him, he shook my hand with tears in his eyes and he said, "Sir, you're the best teacher I've ever had." And I told him, like, "I've been teaching you for 3 months." And he said, "No matter, sir." So at that point, you believe the story, right? You don't see that as flattery, that it was a genuine comment from a teenager, who was overcome with emotions to the point of crying in front of an adult. So yeah, that's something you take to heart. And in the moments as a teacher where you're not having fun, you think, hey, I'm actually a pretty good teacher. If I had that effect on someone in that short a window of time, I'm good at this job. That's things I've told myself plenty of times. Sometimes when that one class leaves your classroom at the end of the day and you stand there staring at the messy desks, you have to talk to yourself and say, you're a damn good teacher. Remember that. These students are temporary, but the memories sort of uphold you at that moment, right? Let's just sink this down a little bit. Just a smidger, that is too much. Just a smidgeroni. Is that too much? I might have grouped it a bit. Actually, we're gonna do it more like this. This is far from all of the plants that I'm going to put in here. Hey, Aussie bloke. G'day, mate. No, I shouldn't have done that. I apologize immediately. Instant regret. Yeah, imposter syndrome for sure. Even, and maybe Sparrow, you can relate. Even during lessons, you can be standing there teaching and thinking to yourself, I suck. Like, this is boring. Students don't care. What am I doing? And then other days you go home and thinking, that was an amazing day and I feel so good about myself. It's a crazy job. It's a crazy profession. Absolutely. And I can talk about it for hours, obviously. I've come close to quitting at times, and I've come home in absolute elation and jubilation at how good of a day I had. A job of extremes, for sure. So that's just laying the groundwork here, just some grass. Nothing spectacular. All I'm hoping to do with... Actually, let's add these to another group before I regret what I'm doing. All I'm hoping to achieve with these particular streams is maybe, you know, serve as some white noise background for you. Although I do wonder if the endless ramblings and yapping of Yelbu can ever serve as white noise. I'm not hoping to inspire you with what I'm doing here, is what I'm trying to say. This was a very simple habitat. Like all of my habitats, it is way too big. But I kind of disagree. Let me demonstrate. This habitat first, for example. This here is the cheetah habitat. And I think, they're not in here actually, but this is 1836. Maybe I picked the wrong one to demonstrate this. Well, no. Cheetahs require 700 square meters. And this is 1800. So triple, pretty much. Almost triple the size of what is required for a minimum requirement for a cheetah. But I'm like, this already looks small to me. I already think my cheetahs deserve more room than this. I just really want my animals to have a lot of room. That's just the way I am. Like, I don't agree with the minimum requirements. Yeah, 100% white noise. Yeah, that's fine. White noise was my my nickname in in high school. But yeah, I'm fine to be white noise. In fact, I'm kind of honored because I used to have other streamers as white noise. And now I am the one. Building a bush dog habitat, that's so cool. I'm absolutely procrastinating on finishing Tierra Encantada because I was absolutely eviscerated. Let's even say emasculated by the jungle tour that I did. I toured that South American jungle and I looked at the temples and I thought, oh god, next thing on my channel is going to be a South American jungle. I am not capable of you know, living up to that. So I've really procrastinated on that. Just so you know, behind the scenes, I haven't built anything in Tierra Encantada since you last saw it. Just because I don't know what to do. I'm kind of stuck. And having said that, if you were wondering why there hasn't been more Bollo Bollo besides this rebuild, I have no real reason. I could very well be building other parts of this zoo while I do this, but I'm not, right? I could be building the great apes, but my relationship with great apes is quite complicated. I could be building the lions, but my relationship with lions is not complicated. It is one of pure adoration to the point that I'm afraid to... Hey, don't you escape. Don't escape. I have that turned off. You should not be able to escape. Anyway. Wow. My ADHD is doing a number on me at the moment. That and the tiny smidge of alcohol I have consumed, I will be honest. Sorry, YouTube. You toured the zoo, it gave you inspiration or motivation to do your South America trail. Yes. Yeah, most of that is not applicable in a real zoo. That is absolutely true. I do say that in my tour, like, this is in a way the best habitat you've ever seen of these, but they're not habitats. They're just so yeah, I hear you. But my original goal for my South America trail was going to be more like fantasy and less zoo-like. So for me, it was... I'm gonna have to do a lot of thinking. Also, yeah, same Sparrow. Sparrow agrees. Guys, I have built for almost every animal in Planet Zoo. I have all the DLCs, I have a lot of mods, I've built for almost all of the animals. And the ones I haven't built for, apart from the South America DLC animals, is the great apes of Africa. And they've been in the games since the very first day of launch day, and I have not built for them ever. And that's it. Every other animal in Planet Zoo I've built for them, except for the 3 newest ones from the America DLC and the Great Apes of Africa. I think that sort of illustrates how much I don't want to build for them. I can't explain it. Hey, Callum! So good to see you. I've been loving your videos lately, by the way. I think I've said that in the comments. By the way, guys, have you noticed I've been looking at my build for, I think, at least 20 minutes and haven't added a single thing? Let's make a change. We're going to be adding the second most important plant of this zoo, and that is the Nitraria bush, which is pretty much what this zoo is built on. So, we start building from these rock formations, because where do plants grow? In habitats, in places where they would be less likely to be eaten or trampled, where there's more shade, or where there's more stuff for seeds to be caught on. And then we sort of will start sinking it down as it follows these rock trails. For that I have no real scientific basis, except for that it looks cool. But yeah, the Nitraria bush is, I think, the signature plant of Bollo Bollo. It is in every habitat, except for the aquarium, and even there I might have snuck it in. But it is an essential part of the Bollo Bollo experience. So we just start adding that in random places where it feels sort of appropriate. And where does it feel appropriate? Well, everywhere, really. Why am I slurring my words so much? It's because it's not my native tongue, English. That's my excuse. I know I'm an English teacher, but it's also late. And I had another roller coaster of a football game that I watched, which took some years of my life. It looks like we have a lot of other Planet Zoo creators and builders in the chat. I'm so happy that I get to be your white noise stream for the evening. Again, please do tell me if the music is too quiet or too loud, or anything. I'm not quite sure how these big streamers check that themselves. Do they have like a feed somewhere that they get to replay? I'm not sure. Anyway, then I should have done this earlier. You take the dead Nitraria bush and you sort of add it inside the live Nitraria bush, because every plant that grows also has dead branches. That's just, you know, look at any plant in the real world and you will also see dead branches. So wherever we just put Nitraria bushes, we're going to be adding the very dry ones. Again, this is only the very beginning of the foliage work in here. I could, you know, if you don't stop me, I will probably be planting until my PC explodes. have to be reasonable about it. You don't hear music at all. That's funny. I want to change that because there might be music now. I don't know. It would make the more the merrier Yelbu, give the animals more room. Yes, I since the very beginning of playing Planet Zoo, I've been giving the animals so much room. If you I sort of joke around with my girlfriend who has been along for the whole ride of my Planet Zoo experience. If I see like a very big building like IKEA or something, like an IKEA store, I say like, oh look, it's my it's a Yelbu pangolin indoor shelter. Like the scale is completely off, but I just want to give my animals space because I feel like they deserve it. So yeah, and of course Bollo Bollo is not meant to be a city zoo. It's meant to be a crazy, sprawling project by some sort of millionaire who did no planning beforehand. So I think it makes sense. Okay, let's check my reference material. What else did I put in here? Really, I didn't really put a lot in here. It's kind of really simple. I'm almost disappointed in past Yelbu that I didn't really put a lot in this. Manzanita bush, although it is not an African plant, I feel like it makes a nice bush. It's one of those plants that I've almost never used. You know, reach out to me if you've ever used the manzanita bush like this, like with its entire trunk visible. Same for the blackthorn bush. If you've ever used the blackthorn bush not sunken into the ground, please reach out to me or reach out to a professional. Because it's like those pieces are begging to be sunk into the ground, even if you just want to use them as a bush. It's one of those plants that I've almost never used. Reach out to me if you've ever used the manzanita bush like this. I think I haven't added the null barrier to this habitat already. So why don't I do that little... Almost feels like an administration thing you need to do, like you need to fill in this form. Oh, right, the null barrier. By the way, guys, give it up for the null barrier. Honestly, the best thing in the game. The moment I really discovered it, I didn't fully grasp the options, but now being so accustomed to its uses, it truly is the single best thing about plants. So if it didn't exist, that Aussie bloke is going to head off. Have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. Hope I entertained you a little bit. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I have no idea what time it is in Australia, because I think you're almost exactly at the other side of the planet that I am, which is crazy, but I think it's like morning for you, right? I don't know. Anyway, have a great day. Alright, we are going to be grabbing these 4 rocks collections. Hang on, not like this. Not like this, like this. Without those two, we do not need those. At least that's something that, being born and raised in Belgium, it's something they always say, like Australia is at the other end of the planet. I'm not sure if it's true that if you would dig a straight hole through Belgium, I don't think you would actually end up in Australia. There's probably a website that can reveal that to you. I feel like there is a website for that. In Australia, it is between 4:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. depending on where exactly you are. Alright, I'm going to assume that Aussie bloke is one of the 7:30 a.m. people and they're off to work or school or something. And I hope that it's not the middle of the night for them. And that it's just an early morning Yelbu stream, right? Yelbu and coffee. This isn't I'm not. I feel like I've complained about this in a previous stream, but the one thing that would completely change my playing of Planet Zoo is if groups like this could snap to terrain, could would adjust to the level of the terrain below it. Because I don't have the patience to be playing around with these X, Y vectors. It's just something I don't bother with, so. And it's kind of evident in a lot of the builds I do that I don't really bother with it. So you'll get these like things like this where I should clearly be adjusting it to the level of the ground each time, and I'm like, I'm fine. Like, it's such a hassle. I don't like doing it. You see, it's just something that I don't like to do. Those few seconds where I stared at it in absolute silence, I think they reveal how much fun I had doing that. I just don't like doing it. Having said that, we're just gonna grab some Savannah rocks. These ones, the cladding, and we're going to be sinking them into the ground just for texture, just to make the ground look a bit more interesting, add some shadow to the ground, which I think is the main goal here. Just this grass field here looks a bit too barren. We'll need to change that as well. Yeah, staying up at 4:30 just to catch the stream. The only things I've stayed up for at 4:30 were like pretty much overseas events, like live streams that I really wanted to catch from Critical Role, where and I also wanted to watch some football games that were and I really regretted it every time. Like I'm like, ugh. Like I would like wake up at 4 to catch a game that I really wanted to see, but I couldn't sleep in the 4 hours before it. Not fun. But hey, that is the Yelbu way, right? I tend to make decisions that I, in hindsight, regret. That's not, of course, unique to me as a person. That's life.
From Critical Role, where and I also wanted to watch some football games that were
Anyway, I think I interrupted myself there, but Captain Callum, I've really been enjoying your videos as of late. I remember that you were sort of struggling a bit with feeling confident about your voiceovers and stuff, but I think you really sound like soothing at this point and more confident, regardless of the method that you used for it. But just your builds, both the reproductions and your original stuff is so cool. I really look forward to seeing your new videos every time. You've been on a roll for sure.
Anyway, I think I interrupted myself.
Like the whole Pantanal build with the like the Jaguars and the Rheas and everything, and just
I remember
amazing stuff.
struggling a bit with feeling confident about voiceovers and stuff.
I didn't even know for a very long time, even though it's quite clearly indicated that you were doing recreations. But honestly, you really do make those habitats your own. But like, what was it again? The bald eagle habitat that you made, the aviary. So cool.
Like the whole Pantanal.
Ah, now I remember. Reed. That's what I'm missing.
I didn't even know for a very long time these days recreations. Honestly, you really do make
Okay, here's a question. Question time for any other plant soup players. The papyrus plant. How am I supposed to use it? I don't understand this. Is this a water plant? I know in real life it's connected to water, but it's such a weird design, especially this one. It never looks quite right to me. I've always struggled with making this plant look appropriate. We're just gonna take some more of those reeds and be adding them very sunken down in some random places to add some variation in texture and color. Just in random places here, be adding these very sunken down reeds. I think I'm making it a bit more lush than last time. If you remember the build from last time around, if you do, by the way, that's so cool. But I think I'm making it a bit more lush than last time around, which I don't think is that bad, because the whole safari is quite lush. So it doesn't really hurt that it sort of retains that lushness. So if you do a quick explore mode view of the Jeep, you just pass through this habitat. And then you see the grass is becoming a bit more dry and sparse. You check out the warthogs one last time. And then you get this really grand, more lush view. What I like, and it wasn't deliberate, is that actually maybe I don't like it. If you're here in the Jeep, you can't see the other side of the habitat. I'm not sure if I like that. Or maybe I do, because once you head up here, you do see the whole habitat revealed to you. But this bush, for starters, needs to go. So does this one. What else really sticks out? I think it's always a good idea to check out the sight lines in your habitat and see what stands out. From the guest point of view, what doesn't look quite right. I think this area stands out. This one. I need to do something about this place, this space. And I think this also is lacking something. So that's two things to tackle. This needs something. I think I have just the idea. Says Yelbu as he does the least groundbreaking thing known to man, and he adds some rocks. But hey, rocks are actually in real zoos a staple of building habitats. Go to any zoo and you will see rocks and just wood and trees and everything. That's just what you put inside animal habitats, even if the animals don't really care for them. It's just something to break up the especially if your zoo doesn't have a lot going for it. Like, if you're just pretty much a grass field, rocks look nice. Rocks always look nice. Okay, but still, I think I might have made this a bit too green. But I'm saying that when comparing it to the first iteration of this. In the first iteration of this build, it was very brown. I'm looking at it off screen. It was much browner. And now I've made it greener and more lush. And I think I'm gonna have to get rid of these manzanita bushes. They're just too much. These ones at least. I think these ones need to go as well. It's not quite what I was hoping to achieve. Maybe these ones can remain. I think these ones can stay because they're right next to water, which makes sense. This already feels more open. Yeah. I think at this point we're gonna do something that I've not done yet, and that is add the null barrier and make sure that I can add some animals to this. So let's see. Don't look at the inside of the habitat, please. It is deliberately unfinished. Anyway, actually, I can just use the null barrier. I can just use this null barrier. There. We'll just grab this one. This habitat is the home to 3 species, or at least it was originally. I might yet change my mind. But 3 animals live in here. That being the gemsbok, which is actually one of my favorite African animals. The ostrich lives here, and the black wildebeest, which is, underrated in the YouTube world. I haven't seen a lot of builds for that guy on YouTube. Of course, it's been in the game for a long time, so what am I expecting, to be honest? But I think I already have now a complete habitat, right? Habitat 99 is land area 9,000 square meters. I think my animals have enough space. What do you think, guys? Should I be adding Like, I should be at least doubling this space. Don't you agree? Anyway, I'm not going to go crazy. But I am going to be adding a couple of animals in here. Let's just have a male Gemsbok. I don't want these color variations, to be honest. So we'll wait. Let's have some black wildebeest in here. I'm struggling with speaking today. It's a bit of that
Land area 9,000
stage fright. Alright, species.
What do you think, guys? Should I be adding like I should be at least doubling it. Don't you agree? Anyway, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going
Let's
to
throw them in there.
couple.
And then let's keep it. Let's not go crazy with the ostriches. Why don't we just add 2 of them and see how that feels? Because in case you don't know, I've said this before, but I removed every animal from this zoo to sort of maintain my sanity, which is a bit of a shame, but because sometimes I used to load this zoo and just look at the animals and sort of enjoyed it as a visitor. But I think I should, I at the very least am going to add all the safari animals back, because one of the best things about this is, you know, if you're in the Jeep, this is what you see, right? When you pass, you see, if you're in the Jeep, you can see at the same time, if you're lucky, you could see the cheetah over here, you could see these antelopes, you could see the giraffe, you can see the hippopotamus shop actually, you can see this habitat, you can see that one, and you can see the hyenas all in one go. And I think you might even be able to, if you're very lucky, catch a glimpse of a giraffe back there. And then if you look to this side, you will see the rhinoceros, the black one and the white one. So
This is what you see, right? When you pass, you see.
I don't even know why I started that story. I think I need a drink.
At the same time, if you're lucky.
Because, I mean, there's really not a lot left for me to do here. I know there's a couple of plants I still want to throw in here. Some of the dead Nitraria is going to go in here. I think the Trioda grass, the Triodia, but not everything, just the tip is going to go in the habitat, and then a lot of dead Nitraria just to break up the monotony of this. And then after that, I'm going to call it almost a day. For now, I'm going to get a quick drink for myself because I need to hydrate myself.
I know there's a couple of plants I still want to throw in here. Some of the dead Nitraria is going to go in here. I think the Trioda grass, the Triodia.
Alright, I'm already back. All that's left really for this habitat is just adding those 2 plants that I just said. So let's grab the Triodia and just start adding it. I sink it down because I don't really like these like starry, but this really makes it look like a variation of grass, like these plumes really. And I think adding this also to the borders of this grass, maybe not, maybe I'm overdoing it a bit. I think I need to slow down a bit on adding it everywhere. But it does have this like different kind of grassy vibe to it. Again, we don't want to overdo it. I've already really changed the feel of this habitat when compares to the original, but I think if you guys would ever go back and look at the the original video, I've been quite faithful to the original habitat here. I did, of course, study it beforehand to see what I was gonna do, but we've been quite faithful to it. So yeah. Big W's in chat for staying faithful to my original ideas, I guess.
Again, we don't want to overdo it.
This does look nice. This needs something. What am I putting in here? Alright, now to these dirt patches. Just subtly be adding these dead nitraria, just the very tops of them. Just to add the slightest bit of texture to them. Nothing crazy, but it just immediately adds something to these otherwise blank spaces. Ah, look at it, Gemsbok. I absolutely love this animal. I think they're beautiful and gorgeous, and whenever I see them in real life, I am amazed. Truly one of the most, truly one of my favorite animals in the world. If you want to know, the African penguin is one of my favorite animals of all time. So is the pygmy hippo. Those truly are special to me. I think I shouldn't really do much more in here. I think I should be very careful with adding more plants, because I've already pushed it to the limits. I think... I don't know, guys. I don't know if anyone's listening to that extent, but here's the deal. When you're over here in the Jeep, your vision is blocked as to the other side of the habitat, right? And if you're over here, the whole other end, your vision is also blocked. Does the fact that when you are up here on this elevation and you get the whole overview of the habitat, does that make up for it? Would you as a guest be bothered by the fact that you get limited views from below? Is that smart zoo design or is it dumb zoo design? I'm not sure. Because it wasn't that way, I'm fairly certain, in the original build, where this was much flatter and you could see the whole way through from the Jeep. But personally, I like it the way it is now, and that is that the whole reveal of this final safari habitat is truly only given to you when you are a few meters higher. So I'm gonna keep it like that for now, maybe until I change my mind. And I think, guys, after we do some touching up of this water area, that's this habitat pretty much done. I can obviously keep building at it for hours and hours, but just like Ian Malcolm in my favorite movie Jurassic Park, I could say I've been thinking so much about whether I should be thinking about whether I should. Alright, Sparrow thinks it works fine. Limited sightlines are better. Alright. That is definitely the view of many zoos, both in the real world and in the game, honestly. A practice that I'm not an expert at is limiting sightlines. You know, you don't want to break the immersion too much. But I think the view from up here in the Jeep ride more than makes up for it. Still one of my favorite views in the whole zoo, especially if I haven't added the animals back. But this one, the whole condensed view where you would see this habitat, this habitat, this habitat, and the giraffes back there is so cool. And that is all I dreamed of when I started making this. I have to credit someone who is actually, or might have watched the stream today, and that is Jean. Because I did not know what to do, and she really planned out the idea for this safari, which it's not a crazy idea, but it kickstarted me building it, and it really came together well, in the sense that those habitats look connected to each other. The barriers in between are very subtle, and it just looks like one large field, but the antelopes don't mix too much. I think in Plant Zoo mixed habitats, they're just too chaotic for my liking very often. There's just too much going on. Anyway, some slight detailing here around the water area is something we're going to do. What am I doing? Not water. I need to write savanna. Because one thing I also really dislike in Planet Zoo is animals who have no business being in the water deciding they want to swim all the time. I hate it. I hate it. Like deer and Arctic foxes and everything just jumping in the water all the time. So I very often really limit the area they have available to them to drink. Which is the philosophy of what I did in this drinking hole. Of course, we need to change the water to the trademark Bollo Bollo Azure.
One thing I also really dislike in Planet Zoo is animals who have no business being in the water, deciding they want to swim.
Are the ostriches in? Where are the ostriches? They're just back here chilling. Okay. I shouldn't be adding much more. I think at this moment I'm going to let it rest and not be adding too much more. Might have watched the stream, you're still here? Alright. I was struggling with my verb use there. I think I will say, you know, I am an English teacher. But even I notice that when I'm speaking for 2 hours straight, the mistakes start showing. So you were watching the stream, and you still are. You have been watching the stream. That's the one. That's what I'm looking for. Anyway, guys, I love the black wildebeest in this game because I don't know why, but they seem programmed more than many other animals to stick together in herds, while the Gemsbok clearly don't seem as inclined to do so, and I appreciate that they're always grouped together. We have forgot to add enrichment items for these animals, so let's just make sure we have the wildebeest selected, and we're going to add the basic enrichment. Just recolor it a little bit, sort of hide it inside this tree. We are going to be adding the rubbing pillar. What feels like a good place for that? Where would a rubbing pillar need to go? Like more of an elevated area, or just more of a blank space? here? Does it look nice here?
We have forgotten to add enrichment items.
Nah,
Let's just make sure why were they selected.
it needs to be here, so that when you are turning that corner with the Jeep, you might get lucky and see them use it. Yeah, that looks nice here. Alright, what else do they need? They need to... Sure, let's add some grab balls, which I have never seen an animal in a real zoo use. Maybe that's a me problem. Maybe it's a skill issue, but I'll just add them. A food trough. Trough? A drinking fountain, which we will place inside. I'm starting to think the ostriches don't have space to move out of this shelter. Let me double check, because they're just sitting here awkwardly. Ah, they cannot leave the shelter. Let's maybe that does the trick. Maybe we should make the ceiling a bit higher. I think this might do the trick. Alright, ostriches, can you now move? You have... Yes, they can. That did the trick. Okay. I think, guys, I did a quite faithful job of recreating the original habitat. And I'm going to stop myself from adding much more to it. Like... I think it's done. I think we can consider the habitat officially rebuilt. Yay! Big applause for me. It is exactly midnight here in Belgium. Very well timed, if I say so myself. I think, I don't think I'm going to bed yet, but I will halt the stream right here. It's been so much fun hosting whoever watched. I hope you had fun watching. I hope you learned something. I hope I didn't... Yeah, congratulations. I get a congrats. Thank you so much. It is rebuilt. So in the future, the next stream will probably feature me doing the terraforming here. And I think I think this time around I'm going to start with the rhino habitats instead of the palaces, because the palaces are the biggest thing of them all and I need to really plan ahead. So next stream I cannot guarantee when it will be, but it will be building the rhino habitats here, probably somewhere next week. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope that you will have a great rest of your day and a great week coming up for all of you. And yeah, I'm just going to click end stream in a bit. And yep, I clearly don't know how to end. It's like two people in love on Skype, right? Don't know if you can relate, but I used to spend long nights on Skype talking to the girlfriend, and we would just be like, bye, and then start talking about something, and then so, oh, we should sleep. Yeah, we should. And keep talking. And we would just be on Skype for a very long time. Anyway, that being said, thank you guys for watching. This video will be on my channel if anyone wants to rewatch it. And I'm gonna hop off. See ya!
Rest of your day and a great week coming up for all of you. And yeah, I'm just going to click end stream in a bit.